Recording in progress.
Judy, can you hear us? No.
Grab a talking box.
Just trying to figure out if I need more mics.
Big Piper says yes. No, he's not actually here.
Oh,
I don't remember if you remember that tirade.
oh, yes. Judy, if you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. Hi, okay. Somebody can hear us. Perfect.
All right, good evening, everybody. We'll call this meeting of the Buckfield Select Board to order for February 6, 2024 at 6:32 p.m. And we do have a quorum. Old business, the grant management policy, which is great, by the way, Zelia. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, so we went over it last meeting and I just needed to make that one wording change. No worries. Which was section A, that first sentence. I just had to change. Let's see. We changed the wording so it says any grant application with the town's share being $4,999.99 or under must be approved by the town manager. So that was just the wording hiccup we had there. And then we'll follow that up, which I know we'll get to, but we just have to make that number change to the standard operating procedures so that this can fully take effect. And I'll make a motion that we approve the grant management policy. I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion?
Just so everybody knows, because now that we're gonna there is a grant that I was looking to apply for to help us with the roof. I don't have all the details, but I only have till the 15th to submit it, so I guess what I'm trying to say is this is my presentation. Okay, it's not matching, it's up to $10,000, it's simply for historic buildings, which is unqualified for, so it would all be grant funds, but I have a few days to do it, and we won't meet again until after the deadline, so.
Is there anything we can do to help you with that?
No, it's pretty straightforward. Fill it out. It's just I've been busy with the budget and stuff and everything, and I procrastinate. So I'll be working on that next week. But I just wanted you all to be aware of it so that I'm not violating our policy.
All right, all those in favor, Bob, aye.
Ophelia, aye. Heather, aye.
Peter, I.
Sandra, aye.
Thank you.
And I will make a motion that we amend the town of Buckfield standard operating procedures as outlined. I will second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, Bob, aye.
Azalea, aye. Heather, aye.
Peter, I.
Sandra, aye.
Perfect. Thank you, Azalea.
Thank you, guys. And thank you, Vivian, for all your help. It's all good.
All right, new business, the consent agenda.
I will make a motion that we approve the consent agenda. I will second that motion.
All right, any further discussion?
Just so everybody knows, since I did two of them today, cost payable warrant 74, that's how much the invoice came out to repair 451. So the insurance covered everything except for the $500 deductible.
Great.
And it's back in service.
Even better. Sweet.
That's great. All right. I'm sorry.
So just to clarify publicly or just share the information, I've had some people ask me about the consent agenda and that we seem to go through this very quickly. And I just let those people know that the details to these figures are available to us beforehand. We all have a chance to go through things, that the numbers are open to the public, and that all of us sign off on the monetary expenditures, just so community members are aware that it isn't one person in isolation writing big checks and then we just say, okay.
Yeah,
That,
thank you for the clarification.
that we all sign off on it. And so there are many checks and balances within.
Yeah, you've got not just me, but Brittany puts APs in, I put APs in, I do payroll. I have to come see you guys for the payroll every week. So it usually crosses at least 3 or 4 people before it even gets to the meeting.
It is of the utmost, just to share with the public that it is very, very important to this group.
Yep.
That that everything is as it should be and is very transparent and that we all double check each other. So I just wanted to put that out there in case anyone had any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our policies cover 69 through 72. The other 2, all the checks are sitting right here. If anybody doesn't know what this big stack of paperwork is in front of me, nothing's been sent out until they approve it.
All right, all those in favor? Bob, aye.
Azalea, I.
Heather, I.
Peter, I
Sandra, I.
make a motion. Who made the second?
Okay.
All right. Sorry. Really?
Yeah. All right, town manager update.
Sorry. I do terrible at summarizing. So as all of you know, and anybody that's here. The municipal center had another birth fight on the, what was it? It's a couple weeks ago now. On a Sunday, I came in on a Sunday and discovered that one of the base sports had birth. Bob was willing to come in on a Sunday and play emergency plumber. We basically, we needed to make sure that the building wasn't gonna freeze up, so we were able to shut the water off and use shark bites to get heat back to the building. Then we called in the licensed plumber to come in and fix the temporary fix, so that's been fixed. Unfortunately, that means that room downstairs is currently not available. The floor needs to be either refloored or resurfaced. We found hardwoods underneath it. I don't know if they can be resurfaced. We're still looking at that. So in the meantime, all our meetings are going to be up here until I can get that taken care of. I'm hoping to get that taken care of before the election in March because I don't really have anywhere else to hold the election. So if we have to do it in its current state, we will, but that's not ideal. I also want to thank Azalea and Viv for coming in the following day and helping me tear up carpet and scrape the floors because I wanted to get as much of the water out of the building so it didn't ruin what was underneath it. So I appreciate everything the 3 of you did. The Medicare, the data reporting for Medicare that I discovered about a month ago, I completed all of that. Data reporting on the 26th, they had granted us an extension to the 31st. Fortunately, it didn't take me 23 hours like they were projecting. It took me more like 9, but I got everything in, and as a result, we won't be taking a 10% reduction in our Medicare reimbursements. I sent a follow-up email to our auditor first to request dates for them to come in and discuss options for those 2 audits. They probably got busy after the holidays. They did get back to me and they're planning on coming in on the 22nd, 23rd to go over what we're going to do to move past that and start auditing the current figure. I met with the budget committee on Friday. I know Sandra and Viv were here. Basically at the end of the meeting, the budget committee approved the proposed or the recommended budget that I put forward with a couple of small changes. They made a recommendation that we increase the on-call wage for rescue to $6 an hour. And I think they made a recommendation that we utilize ARPA funds for the roof, the remainder of the ARPA funds to replace the roof. All in all, what I proposed, expenses were up 10.3%. However, proposed revenues were also up 10.9%, which left us with a net 5.4% increase all in. I know that sucks, but that's the best I could do. And, you know, I know we discussed some figures. I just don't think it was realistic with what I was looking to.
I would like to interrupt you and say that I disagree with your assessment of those numbers because I think that you did well. And that increase, given some of the things that we need to do. I don't want you to feel that what you came up with is negative, that this sucks, I disagree. I think that what you've come to us with, what you've proposed is wonderful or well thought out. And as we go forward in the times to talk about the budget, there may be other things to look at. But I don't want you to feel negative about it.
No, and I appreciate that,
Okay.
and I don't wanna say it sucks, I mean, nobody wants to see expenses increase, but I mean, I think it's. Anybody that shops at a grocery store or buys anything knows it's. I don't know how you keep anything flat without getting rid of something. And honestly, I don't really think there's anything that we should be getting rid of or could get rid of. So all in all, my plan is now that they've gone through their process, and I let Peter from the budget committee know. At the next select board meeting on the 20th, I'll send it to you in advance, but that. Gives us the opportunity to start the process earlier instead of waiting till March. I was looking at dates because every time we talk about this, we're like, oh, count backwards, and I never have them in front of me. So basically what I'm looking at is annual town meeting on the same day as the RSU town budget validation, which is the second Tuesday in June, which is the 11th. So the warrant needs to be posted no later than June 4th. However, because we do secret ballot, absentee ballots would need to be available by May 12th. Public hearing has to take place before June 1st. I would recommend having those before you approve the warrant so that people have a chance to provide their input. Or possibly convince you that something you put in was not good or vice versa or whatever. What I'd like to do, which is an off day, but the warrant needs to be approved and signed by April 12th to allow us enough time to have them printed and ready for election, or have them ready for when the absentee ballots need to be available. So hopefully that gives you five an understanding of, you essentially have all of March, and now we have an extra week of February that we can hash through this and figure out what we need to figure out, which is good. We're ahead of schedule, but and then I reminded you before we were on camera, but don't forget, we have a solid waste committee meeting on February 27th at 6 p.m.
That's open to anybody.
Yep,
Public.
it'll be in Sumner at their town office, which I think is 643 Main Street in Sumner. I did include the flyer that I sent to all of you via email about the G402 virtual training. I think Viv's gonna hit on it a little bit later in her part, but this is an option to do it virtually. I think Lincoln County's looking at it. I know Azalea has it. I believe you have it, maybe. It's possible that I could, but this is one of the NIMS requirements that you all have to meet. Buckfield Rescue, I included Stacy's report just to give a brief summary. We had 39 calls on January, 30 were in Buckfield, 4 in Hartford, 5 in Sumner. We had 21 BLS calls, 17 ALS calls, and 1 fire standby. Mutual aid, we did receive mutual aid from Turner and Pace. We didn't provide any mutual aid in January. I don't know if that had anything to do with the fact that we were down in ambulance, so they just didn't request it, but typically it's usually pretty equal. The repairs on 451 have been completed. That ambulance is back in service. We just sent 452 out for service yesterday and it's already back. So both ambulances are in the station. We had to have the noise in the front end checked out and replaced 2 front tires. One of them had a big chunk taken out of it. The day crews for both fire and rescue and waxing floors. It actually looks really good. I don't know if anybody's been over there, but you can see your reflection in them, which is nice. There are some tiles over there that have come up on where the pressure crack is. So at some point we're gonna have to put some of that down. A couple of brand new items were donated to the department: manual wheelchair and a raised toilet seat with handles. If anyone is in need of these items in town, please have them contact the rescue chief to arrange pickup. Stacy she'll be out of the country on vacation from February 7th to Sunday, February 18th. Captain Tardif will be the rescue's contact person should any issues arise. Public Works, I've been out on 16 winter road events this season compared to 14 at the same time last year. However, we only used 352.8 tons of salt compared to 550.59 at the same time last year. It's looking like it's going to be an early spring, and if it warms up as is forecasted, Weldon will have to post the roads sooner to avoid any damage. He did mention sidewalks. He knows that there's been a lot of, or noted there's been a lot of talk about sidewalks. We haven't been able to maintain them as good as years past with the winter weather, primarily because the sidewalk machine is still down. I spoke to him today. The old motor's been pulled out of it, and they're in the process of putting the new motor in. The weather looks good, so hopefully that'll be feeling later. I didn't even have a chance to read the library one, so I can't really summarize that. January's been a month of reviewing the year and the planning new programs and ways to meet our community's needs. The director has spent the last month gathering statistics for the Maine Public Library annual report. She's been pleased to see the increase in participation in library programs, and then she broke down the summary. We started opening Thursdays on February 9th. We've had 60 new patrons enroll. The meeting room was used for library programs 46 times. 325 people attended these programs. Total circulation of books and materials was 5,771. 418 interlibrary loans were received from libraries throughout Maine. Passes for state parks and Maine Wildlife Park were used 91 times in fiscal year 22-23. They're working on better publicizing events and programs that they put on. They'll be leaving paper copies of the newsletter and their monthly calendar in each of the 3 town offices. These are also available at the library. The newsletter is sent out to all patrons who wish to receive emails. Friends of the Library Group is beginning to reorganize and make membership available to more people. I forgot to bring so we made a request of the Friends Group to provide an annual breakdown of donations and stuff that they received. They did provide that, and it's downstairs. So I'll email it out to you guys later. I don't have any information for me. And then Kathy just says, please see our calendar for February for the scheduled events and programs at the library. I don't have a fire report.
They also, they also got a pass to the main mineral and gem
Museum, yep.
museum that people can use.
Oh, yes. I did not know that.
Excellent museum. I highly recommend it.
It's like, I think kids under a certain age are always free, and in the past you can get like 4 people or something. I can't remember the rules of it, but
They're on Westbury.
yeah,
It's up in Bethel.
Bethel, that's right.
I'm thinking of the old parents.
Yeah, you are.
Well, it's a lot of it has to do with the parents, but yeah, it's located up in Bethel. Great for the tourist crowd, I think.
And they have like a book sale and stuff coming up too. I went to the library meeting.
The programs that our library puts on, and I'm able to visit the library more often than most people due to the proximity of the library to where I work. It never, anytime I go in, happy, positive place, a diverse group of people, there's always something going on. So I just encourage everyone to go check out the library to get the newsletter to see. I think there's a slime workshop coming. And it's so pretty. Wednesday slime, so.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All ages program.
All right, thank you, Cam. Let's see. Approval of the minutes from the January 16th, 2024 select board meeting. I didn't see anything there. Anyone else?
I
No.
didn't find any errors.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 16th, 2024 select board meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, Bob, aye.
Zelia.
Heather, I.
Peter, I.
Sandra,
Thank you. 2022 to 2023 property tax abatement.
All right, so this is an abatement from last year's, obviously, just a 20 week increase. tax commitment, something caused a property account to generate a bill that shouldn't have been billed last year. Basically, the property was purchased after April 1st, so the original owner should have gotten the only bill, and then they should have worked that out between each other. Unfortunately, it created a second bill, but it also created an additional house lot. So it ended up being a bigger bill than it should have been anyways, for the original owner. So this abatement is to cover the bill that was sent in error. Colleen normally would have taken care of it as the assessor, however, since it's been within a year, it has to go to the select board for a year. And all the corrections on her account have been made. I've verified them, so this year's bills came out correct.
So however this happened, it's been fixed and we're helping.
Yep.
So I'll make the motion. We approve the property tax abatement for 444 North Hill Road in the amount of $835.61.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, Bob, aye.
Azalea, I.
Heather, I.
Peter, I.
Sandra, I.
Thank you. Winter sidewalk maintenance policy.
And back it's, you know,
Yeah.
we won't hold it again.
I saw it in here somewhere.
Oh, it was.
Right,
right there for the abatement. So the reason I brought this up is because we've essentially had an internal policy that we followed up until this point, but it hasn't been in writing. It's a habit of how we take care of our sidewalks in the road. It's been brought up publicly about how these are taken care of, so I thought it best to put it on paper, have all of you review it and understand where this is coming from. So to summarize, and I've been clear about it from the beginning, sidewalk maintenance is secondary to road maintenance. It's actually third to employee safety. So if our crews are out plowing all night long and they finish up 6 in the morning or even 4 in the morning, they're gonna go home and they're gonna get rest before they go and take care of sidewalks. I understand that that may be to the detriment of local businesses or property owners. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So everybody's aware that the sidewalk machine has been broken. They're currently working on it in-house in between storms or whatever else they're working on. And there are certain sections of 117 that we've deemed that are dangerous, primarily the corner in front of the bank building, because trucks come down trucks, cars, everything comes down that mountain way too fast. And the last place I want or the last thing I want is for our loader to get struck or somebody to get killed because they're cleaning sidewalks. So since that's the only option we have to clean that, we only clean that with the loader and the trucks between the hour of midnight and 6. After 6, we're not putting the loader or an additional truck on that corner. So this just basically outlines that. It also explains that residents and businesses are responsible for their visitors and their patrons. So if somebody needs access to their facility and they need access to the sidewalk and we're not able to do it, they're responsible for clearing it up until we can get there. Outside of that, it's pretty cut and dry, and this is the way that Public Works has handled the sidewalks. It's just people have noticed it not as well as last year because we don't have the tool that we need currently operating to do it. So
For once the tool is repaired,
it's much easier to do that during the day
then
because,
they'll be able to resume doing it during the day. Makes sense.
but it does explain that in the event that equipment does break down, sidewalk clearing may be delayed until the equipment is repaired. So I think it's best to have it in writing, so if somebody doesn't understand it, we're all on the same page. And it'll help Public Works feel better about it when people are upset about it because they're following the policy.
So this isn't necessarily a policy that we have to adopt. It's just for us to be aware of the protocols that you face. And certainly if someone wanted to discuss this further, they could contact any selectman or come to a meeting. And we would hear what they have to say.
I'm asking you about that.
Yes, that's
So,
all.
okay.
You don't have to. I'm
Here we go.
just-
So if I look at the bottom of the second page. So I will make a motion that we adopt the winter sidewalk maintenance policy as written.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Bob, aye.
Heather, I.
You're right.
Sandra, I.
Well, that's kind of the, are you voting or are you abstaining?
I don't know. Can I go back to the discussion piece? I just wish that there were some. Like a time frame on the sidewalk maintenance, instead of just leaving it as. Roads come first, sidewalks come second. Cause I do see the value in making sure that. Pedestrian traffic is safe for everyone. Not everyone can afford a vehicle and the maintenance required, so I don't think that pedestrians should just be. Secondary to vehicle. I completely understand, like I want our plow guys to go home and get the rest that they need after working an overnight shift, taking care of our roads. I absolutely. Agree with that, but I don't want sidewalks to just be. Kind of brushed to the wayside completely just because we have equipment down.
I agree. As someone who spends a great deal of time downtown, I can say that. With every storm, within 24 hours of the end of the storm,
Mhm.
the sidewalks have been cleared.
Mhm.
Within that 24-hour period of time.
Okay.
So I have not seen a time where. It hasn't been tended to.
Sure.
It's just depending on when they finish plowing the storm, they may need to rest, and then depending on where the sidewalk is. You may see them out and about in the afternoon,
Mhm.
but like Cameron said, they can't bring the loader down in that
Yeah, absolutely.
part until the middle of the night, which then they do.
Yeah.
Um,
So could we add some language to say that the sidewalks after the last storm can be expected to be cleared in 48 hours if it's usually done in 24 anyway? Just something to make it solid.
I'm fine with whatever. I just want something on paper so people understand that
Mhm.
there is a process that we go through and that it's not just. Me choosing not to clean the sidewalks.
Mhm.
In that same
Just a walk.
location, when the sidewalks are cleared, you can't get through as a pedestrian anyway, because people park on the sidewalk in front of,
Which we have an ordinance for that,
so.
but who enforces it?
Right.
You're the animal control officer, people park like animals in the
I think when I was kids, when we were growing up, I there wasn't a sidewalk there were parking spots. I feel like the sidewalks came in after,
I don't remember.
because there was always one in front of Charlie's. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there was like 3 parking spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the sidewalks were messing with the parking
Yeah.
area. So,
Yes, ma'am?
I think the sidewalks went in as part of an agreement between the town and the state when they were doing some paving.
Oh,
Sounds about right.
That's like a vague memory. I do get that not everybody can afford cars. And kind of agree with you. I hadn't even thought of that, maybe
Yeah.
put the time limit on it. But on the other hand, I've seen them, they could go through with the machine in less than a half an hour.
DOT.
DOT comes through.
Mhm.
and they're completely buried.
Mm,
So if we did put a timeline on it, it'd be hard to say when does the time start and when does it end
Mhm.
if it gets recovered.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I can assure you, the intention is to get everything cleared up. You know, if the storm finishes up on Friday. Or Saturday morning at 5:30, and they go home to rest. So, does anybody in here know how much we budget for sidewalk? Clearing,
not offhand.
$6,000 a year. That pays for the rental of the machine, or in this case, it was to purchase the one machine that we have. So, once that's gone, that's all the money we have dedicated to sidewalk maintenance. So, when we get to the budget process, we need to take this into account too.
Right, and probably the policy should be reflective of the spirit where we do want it cleared. But unfortunately, setting terms on it could be problematic.
We had
You may
issues
not
that,
want to-
I'm sorry.
Sorry, we may not want to put specifics, but if we look at sidewalks will be cleared as soon as practicable, given the funding allowed, or because if the community does not want to fund sidewalk clearing, then
Absolutely.
we can only clear it until we run out the funds.
Mhm.
And I mean, we have I guess what I'm really trying to get at is last year, it was an issue a couple of times because if you recall, we had back-to-back storms constantly. So we'd have a storm, we're in the process of clearing. 12 hours later, it starts snowing again. So, you know, now you're pushing that out to 72 hours by the time you're cleaning up from the whole event, but people like in between that period of time were upset that they weren't cleared and it just, our guys are on the road, we only have small crew, so. It's, you never know what's gonna happen, it's one of those things you can't prepare for everything, our intent is to clear the sidewalks as soon as everything else is done. And we continue to do that, and it's. If it's not done and somebody thinks that it's taking too long, they're more than welcome to contact Weldon, I mean, his. The garage's phone number is on the internet or on our website, as well as his cell phone, which he does not take home unless it's a storm event, because I don't think it needs to be tied to it 24/7.
No.
But
And there are towns out there that don't provide this service, and I've lived in them. And you get fined if you don't clean your own site.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it'd really be quicker just to shovel the sidewalk real quick instead of bothering to.
Well, that goes by, you gotta get back out there with your shovel, or you get a fine. Yeah, I mean, it was unpleasant.
Weldon is very responsive when people reach out to him, so if there's something that. They overlooked, or there's something that hasn't been completed, if somebody reaches out to him the right way, he's right on top of it, I mean, so. Our intent is to take care of all the winter maintenance, I just need people to understand that. Our priority is the safety of the roads, so that people can travel safely, and then it moves to the sidewalks and the corners and the snow bankings. The stuff that we need equipment for, so. It was really the gist of this.
Yeah, I
We
think,
don't want a free pass to not do the sidewalks, I just want people to know that it is this. I hate saying secondary, but
I know that's what stuck. I was like, maybe we could just change the word secondary.
she gets the point across that
Yeah.
the focus is
Yeah.
the roads.
yeah, thank you for clarifying.
So we had a motion and second, we're in the vote, do we need to go back or?
We have-
I'll throw my eye in there.
Okay.
Five.
There we go. We're in the we're all in the same spirit of where we want this to go, yeah, I think so, yeah. And I'm sure that's what Weldon would like too, you know, obviously he likes to keep things cleaned up for us, of course. All right. Emergency management update.
Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so. You may or may not have a chance to read. Oh, my monthly report, but. There was we had the workshop, I put together the note. Thank you for. the compliments that you gave at the last meeting. I do appreciate that you appreciate whatever's happening. So thank you. But I think the piece that I'm really looking for out of that workshop is the communication piece. Cameron's done some research on the text.gov, and I think it's part of the budget now. So instead of talking, not part of, not, I used the wrong word, it's not part of the budget. But Cameron has some research, it could come up in the budget process, so we're gonna just like let that go for tonight. The G402 training that he provided the flyer on for you guys. I met with Allison Mill yesterday. Oxford County EMA will be providing that in person. And she made a strong case for doing in-person training on the local level because you get to meet the other people from your surrounding towns and make that connection. However, like Cameron said earlier, you know, sometimes their schedules just don't permit that. So I just wanted you to know there will be a training in the fall. If you think that right now you're too busy, budget, so on and so forth, there will be a training locally in the fall, and it's obviously up to you. The January report, so I made a statement in there that I gave you a link to the request for a presidential declaration. Oxford County has since put out their report. I estimated based on some historical research that I did in previous storms, there's 5 storms, disaster storms for 2023. They're all still open. But deadlines have passed. And what I'm trying to say is, I thought we had 60 days. I wrote in the report that basically 2 months, 60 days, we don't have that anymore. The reason why that is completely wrong is because in this one instance, they did not file for the extension. All the reports everywhere got put in on time, so they didn't need that extra 30 days. So instead of thinking we had 60 days and time to get it together, kind of, we don't. The process starts this Thursday at 10 o'clock at the Oxford County Emergency Management. They're going to host the virtual state briefing for filing the request for public assistance on the last storm. So anybody that wants to come can come. It's at 10 o'clock, it's over at Oxford. And we're gonna sit there and get the virtual thing. Plus, we'll have the benefit of having Allison and Cammie and Rachel, and they actually have a 4th person there now. I apologize for not knowing your name, I just met her. And we'll have 30 days. Which means I might have to call upon you guys for help. The critical thing from the library committee meeting, there's a woman, she's on the library committee, her name is Vicki Gammon. She is computer literate. I contacted her immediately, said, hey, you want to go to this meeting? Blah, blah, blah. She will be attending the meeting with me to cover the computer part. We have, I think it's the 28th or 29th of February to get this done.
So I just want to clarify, this meeting on Thursday is for municipal.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
So it's not for individual residents who are looking.
No,
This is okay,
no, it's for officials, if you will, municipal officials.
okay.
And it's coming straight from the state,
Mhm.
because this will be information about the briefing is for, this is how your town needs to be prepared, needs to submit through the grant portal, the FEMA grant portal, and it'll walk through the whole process. The piece where I'll be coming to you will be around the fact that we can I'm gonna use the word amend, I don't know if that's correct, but we submitted the storm reports, we did an excellent job doing that, and they're really happy over there in Oxford that we did it. But we left some stuff out, like, we didn't include, FEMA has a equipment usage schedule. Which is basically that says if you're running your backhoe for, I'm making this up. Don't hold me to it, I'm just gonna use an example, if you're using the backhoe, you can get. That's charged at a rate of $165 an hour. We did not include in our reports any equipment usage. I also found out from Allison that we did not include any volunteer time, which we can take out of the administration portions of the reimbursement that we get, or the assistance that we get. So hopefully those things will be able to correct on the actual reports that are gonna go to FEMA. Once the reporting is through the portal, then Oxford will be out of the loop and it just goes from Maine to the municipalities. And then further down the line, FEMA for closure. It really truly is a many layered process. But I needed you guys to know that that training is available. I might be calling on you. We have less than 30 days. And then, the other correction was usually, or more frequently, the FEMA grants are 75-25 matching grants. This, because of the presidential declaration, is 75% FEMA, 15% state, 10% town. So that's huge. Another place where we can save it. And then, the last thing I'll say, and if you have any questions at all between now and Thursday, just call me. I'll do my best to keep you informed. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, like Cameron, I've been exploring the Maine Municipal Association Workers' Comp Fund Safety Grants. I thought we started working on it. I haven't told you. It's their theme is slip, trips, and falls, and it's all about safety that way, like coming in, we don't have carpet downstairs anymore, we have short runners. The maximum that they'll give is 3,000, I can only apply once, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. So I might be the first person to use the grant. And if you have any questions, that's it. Did I make the 15-minute cut up? Oh, I can tell you too. Minutes. That yes, we're covered. This is really important. The town of Buckfield is covered umbrella under Oxford County Emergency Management for hazard mitigation. Okay, so even though our plan will hold, we're covered under that umbrella coverage. I've spoken with Bill G. His last name I cannot pronounce. Most people call him Bill G. And the state, and he is willing to. He was fabulous. After the budget, I'll be approaching you for. He'll come and do in training. He'll do in training G402. He'll do lots, and then Red Cross time. That's it.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Viv. And thank you for the in-depth description of everything you're doing. It's all great for us to know. Exactly.
And the road committee is coming on board. If they need to call a meeting, they will too. You know, Weldon's like he's been so great, really great, and he's on board too. So just know that in the next 30 days, this process has to happen. We'll need the information, and I'll reach out as soon as I know.
Then we'll be there for you.
Thanks, we're gonna get her done.
Well, Weldon,
Right.
you just the storm was kind of confusing what was worked on, what was, Viv was in my office and Weldon was in my office and we actually recreated a form for him to use while they're out doing road work. Regular, like when they're doing regular road work, as well as something quick, you can go in and mark down how much gravel was used on this road, so that he can bring it back and have all that information ready to go, so.
Great.
Which was part of the workshop, we said we would do that in the workshop, that's now done, and off the table. Combined wicked storm, significant incident with daily use, so that they're just one strong.
Yeah, he can track hours for each individual piece of equipment, man hours,
Yep,
everything's all on one sheet of paper, so. It's gonna be so much easier next time.
yeah,
It's unfortunate that anybody had to go through that storm, but the collaborative spirit that has come out of the process and the work that you're doing and people coming together in town, has been a pleasure to see.
yes.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Bev,
Yeah, thank you, Viv.
next agenda item, you'll have to talk to Audrey.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Reset the clock.
Oxford County Hazard Mitigation Plan for 2024.
Yeah, so I know, and it's in my report, I said, yes, I know, you did sign this last month or the month before. So that was because I really didn't know and couldn't find for their, oh. Currently, right now, the last step for Oxford, the entire county, having updated their plan, is to get every town in Oxford County to sign the resolution. So that's why it's before you right away. And so if you sign it tonight, as soon as all that goes to FEMA, then they'll have their new plan that we're covered under. Don't forget, we're covered under, we're covered under it. And so sorry you had to do it again so frequently.
The only thing that changed was the year.
Yes. Yeah,
Well, and these plans are always updated like that. I mean, it's continuous. As you learn things, you update it, and that's how you stay ahead, right?
it's good for 5 years, just.
Yeah. Hmm.
And we'll be doing, our plan, it's coming. Putting the bricks in place.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so we need, like a motion.
Need a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we accept the updated hazard mitigation plan.
I'll second that.
thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, Bob, aye.
Azalea, aye.
Heather, I.
You're on.
Sandra, I.
Thank you. Yay. Any other business?
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
The library. So they have a couple of people that have asked to do things for their business at the library. That's not a library sponsored program. So they have like someone who wants to do a demonstration on how to make mosaic, like garden stones or something like that. Is that what it was? And it's $50 a person and they want the library to eat some of the costs or something, or foot some of the costs. And the library was like, that sounds like a select board question.
Mm.
And there was another lady that wants to just do like a sewing class at the library at the table. But it's not really library related.
Sounds like it would fall under the municipal use policy, right?
They were wondering if there was another place in town to do it, like here somewhere or something.
I would have this room available, which people would have to. Like a class, according to our current facility use policy, if it's a 6-month class, up to 6 months. It's $30 for
Okay.
that 6-month period or whatever. Unfortunately, with the room downstairs, I'm already running into headaches on Tuesdays because I have, besides us and the other committees, I've got. One group that uses this room every Tuesday and another one that uses it once or twice a month, and they all like intersect with one another.
Hmm.
So I've been tearing my hair out about it, so. Right now, I don't have anything here until that one downstairs is repaired.
And Kathy wanted to know, like, there's nothing in the library guidelines about this. And she's wondering if the guidelines should be updated. And like, if there should be a policy on what groups can meet and how the library can be used and.
I think
I feel like the library would just fall under the municipal use policy, same with this building, same with the fire department building.
there's an other option on that, so like it lists the common ones, like the gazebo, the grounds, this room. But then there's a line that says other, so they can fill out what they want. The sewing class, I don't see why, if, as long as it didn't interfere with the director's ability to run the library and it didn't interfere with other patrons, I don't see why it would be an issue if it went through the proper process. The other one, I guess I'm not seeing, unless it was something that the library wanted to sponsor, but I don't know what the grounds would be that the library should eat those costs.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's,
wasn't sure either.
if it was something that the director and the library committee wanted to put on and wanted to sponsor it, like the authors and stuff like that, like I could see it.
Yeah, and like they have another one that donates back some of the proceeds
Yeah,
to the library if they have something there. This one's not like that.
yeah, it sounds more like a for-profit thing, and I
Yeah.
don't.
Yes.
What is the policy for? Let's say there was a room available. And miraculously, the first floor gets fixed tomorrow. And there was a room available and somebody wanted to come hold a class here. I don't have that wording in
I
front of
believe
me.
the current policy dictates it, I believe it's $30
Yeah.
for a single event or $30 for 6 months.
For for-profit groups, it's a $30 per event plus $30 deposit. Any series of classes less than 6 months is considered to be one event. A flat use fee policy will apply for unique circumstances such as wedding and children.
And there needs to be staff present in the building, correct?
Yeah, I do believe in that policy dictates that there needs to be somebody, a town employee present during.
And that whatever they're doing,
Continued use of the facilities will depend on prompt payment. Town manager and or his designee is responsible for scheduling. One adult shall be selected by each group to be held responsible for supervision and proper care of the facilities. This person shall also be held responsible for a safe and orderly environment. Any group using the facilities in which a crowd of people is expected shall provide and pay for sufficient proper constabulary protection, fire protection, parking attendants. And it goes on to smoking is not permitted, so.
I think there's something in there about after hours or non-business hours.
Let's see, rooms are available during normal town office hours of operation. At times where the town office is not open, the applicant may be required to pay the wages of a town employee to be present while the room is being used. If a municipal representative duly authorized by the town manager is not available, the hourly rates, which may include overtime to be paid for required town personnel, shall be current rates.
it would just seem to me that all of that would apply to the library. So if
Yeah, it sounds
the
like
library director felt that one of these activities would not interfere with regular library programming, which if it's 1 or 2 people at a table, it may be fine. If
Yeah.
15 people in the library would probably be prohibitive
right.
during library hours. But then if they wanted to go outside of library hours, they could hire the librarian to be there during that time.
Yeah.
Does that answer?
Mhm.
Did they give like a figure on how much they're asking the library to sponsor?
I don't think so.
I was wondering if the person who proposed this idea gave a figure on how much they would want the library to financially contribute to this sponsorship.
I don't know.
That she said. Did she have it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think those details should probably be worked out just before everybody would really want.
Yeah,
I get why Kathy doesn't want to make the decision by herself,
Yeah,
which she shouldn't anyways.
nobody on the library committee wanted to make that decision,
mhm,
which I get it.
yeah, absolutely.
Perhaps that person just needs to have the details. And then Kathy could.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, and if it needs to be escalated to the select board, it certainly can be if it's a big ask, but.
and we certainly want to encourage the community to use the
Right.
facilities in
Yeah.
town,
Absolutely.
but it just can't. Interfere with other people's use of facilities.
Yeah.
Any other business? Yes.
I had another other business. So as we prepare for the February 20th meeting, do I have the dates right, where we are going to report out on our organization, community board, liaison assignments? That as we're talking to these groups to stress the importance of planning the meetings, giving 7 days notice to Cameron, so then the meetings can be posted publicly. And then if meetings are going to be canceled, as soon as the group knows it's going to be canceled, to then share that information with Cameron again to post that, because I know that there have been instances of when's the meeting, where's the meeting, people showing up at meetings being canceled. And I don't think any of this is intentional. And people may just not be aware that we need to post these meetings at least a week in advance and give people the opportunity to attend. Is that correct? Give you the information or email it to Brittany? What should they do?
Yeah, they should either, well, if they should at a minimum email it to Brittany. Verbally telling me is not a good thing to do. At any given time, I've got a million things going on and I'm most likely gonna forget to post it. So an email to myself or the town clerk would be best. It needs to be at least 7 days prior. And with that said, I need a copy of the meeting minutes because we've been, I don't want to say lax, but I haven't been getting all of the meeting minutes as they happen. So they're not documented in the town office. We need to get back on track with that. I've chased down a few. But if you can just remind them, obviously not the BBC or the school board, because good luck with that. But our local committees, I definitely need that stuff. Planning board is a good one because those minutes have a lot of impact on subdivisions and stuff 30 years from now.
Mhm.
And if we don't have them properly documented 30 years from now, planning board's really gonna hate us.
Yep.
But I just figured as we are going to contact all of these people over the next couple of weeks, now might be the time to
Mhm.
remind people.
And with that said, meeting minutes don't need to be a book, were motions made, were decisions made, if they were, what was the motion, who made the motion, and what was the vote? That's all you need. Time it started, time it ended, that helps too. And then who was present? I mean, it's not, you don't need to like literally type up everything that was discussed at the meeting. If they want to, they can, but
Just the outcomes.
yeah.
That was all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more other business? No. Public comment? Judy?
Okay, just wanted to unmute. Two things. I thought last year, you said you were going to have a member from BBC and from the schools regularly report to the select board. And a second thing, I'll tell you and you can discuss. I'd like to know how effective that flashing sign is, asking people, showing people their speed as they come round the corner on 117. Thank you.
Yes, Cam.
So currently it's not effective because it's under snowbanking.
Yeah.
And so until the snowbank melts, it's probably not gonna do anything. I'm not in the center of town, so when it was running, was it making a difference? Did you notice a difference? You guys walking back and forth on that road. I mean, I've seen people slow down because of it, but I don't think it'll be very effective again until the spring, but. As far as the BBC and the school, I spoke with Erin and I said, I asked her if she could do. I haven't seen Allison, but I asked her if she could do like a quarterly recap or just write up something quick to just go over the school board stuff. I know Sumner's rep does that. And if Allison or Erin want to put something together, at least on a quarterly basis, it would help. So yeah, who's at the school board?
Me.
Oh, okay,
And I'm BBC, but
and
the
your BBC.
meeting got canceled
Yeah,
and so I
and, and
had gone.
Glenn, if you send them an email and ask for an update, if they've done anything, I mean, lately, I don't think they've done much of anything, but usually he'll put something together for you.
Okay,
Or if you ask him to come to a meeting, he will.
yeah, that's true.
So maybe just a quarterly follow-up of what's new on the BBC,
Mhm.
and it might be nothing. Or it might be something, but I agree with Judy. I think at a minimum, we could at least get a quarterly update from the school.
Thanks.
I'm all, because I hear about it all the time.
Right. All right, thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
I wrote that on.
Any other public comment?
I'll comment publicly that you guys just eliminated number 10 off of your list. Viv is working on number 9 actively. Number 11 will be addressed on the 20th. Cemetery trust stuff is with the attorney. I'm still working on the municipal property usage ordinance. I think the fire and rescue department integration is ongoing. Capital improvement and comprehensive plan. I mean, like I said, I've got like a basic capital improvement plan, but at some point we could probably look at that as a group. But what I wanted to point out publicly was that you're making progress on your list. And I think there's actually one missing. I think I removed one. From last meeting. I can't remember which one it was.
He wrote the 14 at one point, so 2 maybe.
Well, we're done. Well, I left the library trust one on there longer than it needed to be. Oh, sticker changes, that's already been taken care of, so that's been removed. So you're making progress.
There we go.
Good job. That's all I'm getting at.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right. Any need for executive session tonight?
I don't have to finish.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Bob, aye,
Azalea, I.
Heather, I.
Peter, I.
Sandra, I.
and we're adjourned at 7:34.
May I ask Azalea if she got my phone call?
I did get your message. My schedule
Okay.
has changed around a little, so I was at work today, but I'll give you a ring tomorrow morning. Is that okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
Have a good night, Judy.
You too.
Care.